Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to another video. Just catching my breath. It's been a bit of a walk. So yes, welcome. So tonight's camp, I am up in the area of Crianlarich in Scotland, of course. Just at the back of me here is the beautiful and mighty Benmore. I'm in a sheltered little bit of the woodland. Fancies a woodland camp tonight. So I've just got this spot. It is a bit of a steep bank and all this, but this is quite just the flattest bit I could find. Anyway, it's a hammock camp tonight. So that's the plan. It was a bit of a late start, so I need to just get this up. Still plenty of daylight. I'm going to get this hammock up and the tarp, get some food on and relax. It's very quiet. I'm absolutely wringing sweat here. It's been a bit of a sunny day actually. Very little breeze. So yeah, it's very quiet. Okay, so I've got the main tarp line up, and basically I've tied it here with a sort of slip knot thing. So basically if I pull that, the whole thing's going to come away very easy. It's less hassle taking some big huge knot out that you can't take forever. You take forever to do it. So it's a very easy and simple knot there. It's quite a tight line, and going across, I've wrapped it around this sort of smaller tree a few times and then tied it the same, and then with the loose cordage I've just sort of tied up nice and neat as well. So that's all ready to put the tarp on. it's not easy to do it with a camera in your hand and do everything one-handed, so I'll try and walk you through some of it. So I've put the hammock up, put the tie top, the main cordage for the tarp at the top first, and then I've put the hammock in as well just underneath it. I've got already loops tied to the tarp itself, and they've double knotted through, and I've put a stick through it so it doesn't actually move at all. The tension's on it so it doesn't slip along the actual webbing. I've got 3 points of contact there for the tarp, and then I have little loop ties here that the paracord goes through, and that can get pegged out just a little bit there, so it actually gives you a whole, the roof structure. And same with the back, so basically everything is all sorted. I'll give it a wee bit of tension up as well. The ones at the back I've actually tied to the tree. It's just a good anchor point, so use what you can. I did bring pegs anyway, and it just means I don't have to use them. And the hammock I've tried out, so it's actually pretty decent, to be honest. So this hammock is basically, it's a DD hammock and a DD tarp. It's a 3x2 tarp, and it is this is one of the first hammocks that DD have done. It's got the little zip, full length zip going down the side, so you can put your air mat or roll mat or something underneath. I haven't brought anything like that because I'm coming lightweight, and this one doesn't come with the Midge Net. I'll put a link into my other video there, which has, it's the different DD hammock, and it has the whole Midge Net setup with it as well. This is so basic, and the tarp is so basic. I actually picked this up at just such an amazing deal, I couldn't resist it. And I got the tarp, the hammock, and the webbing for £10. So this kit is basically a £10 camp. So we'll see how we get on with it. I've already looked at it, and the webbing's fine. There's no rips, tears, frays, anything. The tarp is just absolutely minted. It feels like a heavy duty one, to be honest. It feels like an oily skin, kind of. It's different than what my other one is. I've not really looked into it, to be honest, but it has, it's two-tone, so you have a sort of in part section there, and then the last little section here is just like normal. I don't know what the reason for that is. No idea. But anyway, this is my bed for tonight, and yeah, I thought I'd try it a good old try out in the woodlands. So basically what I've done here, I've got a soup mix that was already pre-mixed up. It is potato, it's got a carrot, it's got an onion, it's got a pepper, and I've also added some rice. I've also brought a chicken stock cube just to sort of sweeten it up a little bit. There's also salt in there as well, so it's something I quite like doing actually. It just saves a lot of hassle just when you're doing got to do other stuff. I'm also using the little army stove and the mess tins just to show you how cheap and how inexpensive a wild camp has to be. So I'm already using the tarp and the hammock that I got for £10, and a little mess tin, pair of mess tins like that, and the little fire thing with a block of fire lighters will probably cost you under a tenner anyway. Cheap as really, really cheap. So don't go thinking that you need to spend a lot of money on camping equipment when you can quite easily do something like this. But I haven't used one of these for ages, so it's quite actually nice to see it and go. Yeah, it's quite nice to see it working. So that's going to just simmer away there for a while. I've got plenty of these little blocks, so I can keep topping it up when I need to. So just while my soup broth is simmering away there, hopefully not far away from eating, just wanted to say, because I've come lightweight and only in a backpack there, I think my bag was like 9 kilos or something, including everything that I brought. So basically this is the food that I've brought for a night. Didn't need to bring them, but there's a couple of Bovril things in there. It just saves slittering about with tea bags and things. I brought a couple of packets of nuts. I brought a pasta, noodles, just in case I get peckish at night. I know it's a bit extreme, but I did bring sort of a beef paste and some oat cakes. Block of chocolate and a coffee and a hot chocolate as well. And also a couple of porridges for the morning. I think the plain ones are quite bland when you've not brought anything, so these ones are like apple and cinnamon or something like that. So it's got a bit of a kick to it, bit of a taste, sorry. For my soup, I'd made a sandwich. So I've got a sandwich to eat with my soup broth. That's basically all the food I brought. I didn't bring anything else. I just wanted to keep it as light as I could. And yeah, that's probably a wee bit extreme for this, as the sort of size of the salmon, the paste thing there, and technically didn't really need to bring that. So, and that all fits into one of these sort of plastic zip bags, which makes it a lot easier to carry, and you can't go way overboard with it. I'm ready for this, I'll tell you. Oh, that's good. So I haven't used these little fire hexy blocks for a long time, so it's just getting used to constantly stoking it again, because they did run out and I've had to relight it again. So if you're coming away, a couple of packs would probably be alright. I've just got my water boiling now for a cup of hot chocolate. I'll get stuck into this, and I've got a sandwich as well to eat, so I'm going to be pretty well fed, and I can pick it away at some chocolate and oat cakes and things like that as well. So pretty well self-sufficient, I would say. So just on it, that instead of bringing a carrot and everything and cutting it up for you are, if you could dice it all up, so and put it in a zip tie bag, so when you get here to your camp spot, you can put it on straight away with some water. So the idea is, while it's boiling away, get your shelter and your tent or your hammock or all that set up, and it just kills that bit of time and waiting for it to boil. And the quicker it's ready, the quicker you get it. Unless you find it too much of a faff to actually worry about an actual even soup mix or anything, if you just put some pasta on or something like that. But I quite like it. Quite like breaking up different camps with different foods and things like that, you know, so it's a nice little touch if that's what you're into. Well, I'll get fired into this again. I've got quite a lot to go through, so I'm going to be here a while, and I think I'm going to be stuffed by the time I've finished it. So catch you in a bit. So just going back to the tarp and the hammock there, I do have my sleeping bag, and because this hammock hasn't got a sort of Midge Net or anything like that, I thought I might as well bring my bivvy bag. So this is an army bivvy bag I picked up long time ago, and it's always done me well. So I've thrown that in the bag. So what I'll do is I'll put that inside the hammock, and I'll put my sleeping bag inside it, just for that little bit of extra warmth. So I'm all fed and watered, and for the wee hot drink, which was nice, I've just brought everything under the tarp, just in case there's any dampness or a drizzle or any of that stuff. It just keeps everything dry. Just relaxing at the moment. Just going to have some nuts and a bit of chocolate just to chill out and listen to the breeze and birds and whatever else makes a noise. I've never been to this bit before, but I have earmarked this forestry just as a trial area, so it's quite big. There is a wee forestry car park for 3 or 4 cars at the entrance, and probably 2 or 3 miles walk up to here. It's not late, I think it's just about 8:30 or 9:15. And as always in a woodland, it just starts to get that dark a little bit quicker than it does out there, for obvious reasons. So it's just a nice relaxing evening, and it's just what I asked for. The reason I came up here was to do a little video on this tarp and the hammock that I got for a tenner. So it's probably a little bit of a bargain. You know, you just go on these little internet sites and you just have a wee scroll through and just see what people are selling and giving away. And if you look long enough, you find a little bargain. I am going to put my Midge Net on tonight. There is a few midges out there. There is a breeze as well, which is probably going to keep most of them away. But I'm just going to put my Midge Net on to give me peace of mind through the night. I've got my bivvy bag and my sleeping bags inside it, so it'll keep me warm a bit. And I also do have little hand warmer pads. I thought I'll just crack some open just to keep the wee hands warm and a wee bit of keep the chill away, just if there's anything. There's no harm in doing that. So it's probably a wee bit of a good thing to always keep them in your bag. But I'm just going to sit back, relax, and eat some chocolate. See you in a bit. it's got to that time where it's a little bit difficult to film in the dark. I've got my little light at the side there. I've just packed some stuff away just to make sure everything's okay. Nothing's lying outside. It's all at under my hammock here, so if it does sort of drizzle or rain or whatever, it's going to be dry. So yep, I've got the wee hand warmers on, and in my sleeping bag, in my bivvy bag, in this comfortable hammock. So I'm just going to put my Midge Net on, and I will probably just drift away. There's a few midges kicking about here actually, and they're a little annoying. I shall see you in the morning, and for a new day. Night for now. Well, good morning, folks. A very still morning. Got the coffee on, and it's remarkably quite a lovely morning. Last night, I wouldn't say I slept great. I think I was warm enough. I had the heat pads. The heat pads are still in my pocket and they're still roasting hot, so it's definitely something that you might want to think about taking on a camp with you, just to take that little bit of edge off things. Yeah, last night was very, very still. I didn't hear a thing last night. When I was awake, there was no owls, there was nothing. So quiet, which I thought was very weird, considering this is a forestry. Normally there'd be owls, there would be things going about, foxes, deer, something like that. Not a thing. And that stood out quite a lot. I think there's a wee touch of mist on the top of Ben Moor there. Not a lot. It is a fresh morning. It's cool. So I'm going to get my porridge on and get that down me and get everything squared away. But yeah, this has been a lovely little camp. It's a nice spot actually. I mean, you're not getting scenery wise, but just to get away from traffic and roads and things, and you're up in the forestry, you hear nothing. Some of you might like that. There are birds floating about now and chirping away, which is good to hear there is something. So yes, I'll put a wee kit list in the description below, and you can maybe have a look at what I kind of brought. There is other bits and pieces that I haven't shown yet, but nothing major. I just try and kept it as light as possible. I probably still brought too much food, to be honest. I haven't eaten half of it, so I could have went lighter, but I think food is just there as a backup as well. So if you're really toiling or you have to stay another night, you know, there is something there for whatever reason. Yeah, so that's, I'll put a wee list in the description there. I'll put a wee link in, or a photograph. I'll take a photo of Google Maps and I'll kind of like show you roughly where I am. Yeah, but it's actually quite a nice area if you wanted to come up here. There are forestry, they are cutting some of this forestry down, so there's not machinery, but there is definitely signs of doing it, so you'd have to be wary about where you go and what you do. So that's I'm only saying. I've not had an open fire here either, just due to the nature of the woodland. I've just had that little the little tin, I can't even remember what they're called because I've not used them. The military use them, the army use them for their exercises and things. So the little cheapy stoves, probably. You could quite pick up the wee hexy blocks in camping shops or in army surplus stores or anything like that. That's probably the best place to get them. That's done me a wee treat. It was just a tester to see and show how lightweight you can go instead of carrying gas bottles and jet boils and all that as well. And this was actually quite a nice camp to come out on, because I've been cycling for the last 25 days or so. The last big camps I've done, I've been cycling, so it was quite good to get back out on the feet and get walking that way. So it was nice. It's quite funny to get used to. Anyway, I'll go and get my porridge on and I'll get back to you shortly. That porridge was actually well needed this morning. So after I've rinsed and cleaned out my mess tins, I'm able to show you a breakdown of the cooking equipment for this camp. So here we have 2 mess tins, one smaller than the other to fit inside each other, a small tin cooking stove, hex blocks or firelighters, and a fork, knife and spoon set. The mess tins fit nice and neatly into each other for easy storage. You can get these from most camping shops, army surplus or online. They do blacken up pretty quick when you're cooking, so a good rough sponge or a wire wool pad brings them back to life. The tin stove doesn't stay shiny for long either, so don't panic, it's just the way it is. It's lightweight, and when you buy one, they normally come with hex blocks and firelighters inside them. So this is an old school type cooking equipment, and it's been around for decades and it's barely changed. So these hex blocks are from Military ration packs. There are loads on the market. They're easy to light and great for cooking with. Pretty simple. The fork, knife and spoon set is just cheap. I got it from a charity shop. You can always pick them up from plenty of camping shops and stuff like that. You don't always have to buy expensive stuff to go camping, and this is just a pure example. They're pretty tough and robust and pretty actually decent. Even the knife comes with a can opener / bottle opener section on the side there. And they all connect into one another for easy storage. As I say, you don't have to buy expensive all the time. Something just as simple as this does the job just as good. So most hex blocks you buy are pretty much the same size and should fit neatly into the tin stove. So overall, if you're wanting something that's cheap and cheerful and is pretty decent, this is probably the thing that you're looking for. It's always worth a try. Okay folks, for those who are interested in the Military Goretex Bivvy bag I was using last night, this is it here. It's nothing fancy, it is just basically an army issue sleeping bag cover, bivvy bag, basically from 1999. Goretex material, I've never had it in the rain, I've never been soaking in it. It's probably needing resprayed or something like that, but I just use it generally for inside a tent, just to keep that a little bit warmer, or in the hammock as you seen last night. Yes, nowadays you can probably pick up ones that are lighter and way better, but if you're looking to start off, you might be able to get a cheap one from an army surplus store or something like that. I've still got mine. I don't, if it ain't broken. Yeah, and it all goes down into that little stuff sack, so it's quite easy to carry. So if you wanted to go sort of semi-lightweight, and yet again nowadays ones that are new ones that are on the market will just stuff down into even smaller. So yeah, it's not actually too bad. So you could probably get a roll mat in there, or an air mat, and your sleeping bag. So yeah, it actually does me okay. So I'll put you just have to check an army surplus store. I can't put really a link in it, but okay. Another attempt. The batteries are going flat, so here goes. Fingers crossed this stays okay. So yeah, I don't know where I finished off before it got a little bit flat. So basically, if you're going to, I can't put a link in the description for this because basically there's so many on the market and they change in surplus stores, so you're probably better going there and just checking out one. But when you do take it out the bag, this one's actually quite a wide one, so if you're a big guy, this would probably benefit you. If you're a smaller guy like me, this is probably too big. It's definitely worth having. Keeps the dampness off your sleeping bag. Pure example there. Good for a hammock camp, and I need to try and do a tarp camp, so just to test this out while I'm lying on the ground, so that'll be a future one. But it's definitely worth having one. I know ones are on the market now are pretty expensive, even though they're smaller and lightweight. This is one if you'd like to try it, see if it's worth having. Plenty out there. Army surplus stores will have them all the time, and it's probably worth doing it if you're wild camping or backpacking into woods, up hills, mountains, everything where it's going to be mist, damp, all that stuff. You're probably better with one. Makes it a lot easier. And this just folds down and goes into the wee stuff sack, rolled up, and that's it. Pretty compact. So I thought I'd just let you see the setup, or the equipment that I actually got. So this is the DD Tarp. It's a 3x2 tarp, and you have the hammock as well, and the hammock is, there's the dimensions of it, 2.7 by 1.3. Also, when you get these tarps, even when they're brand new, I know this was second hand, but when you get them brand new, you don't get any cordage that go from the corners. For the hammock, yes you do, you get the webbing that will attach it to trees or posts or something like that, so you get that. So it's always worth opening your tarp, see how many tie points there is. Normally it tells you on the top, the corner, so you get 1, 2, 3, and then so on round the corners and round the edge. And then just get some paracord or things like that, guy ropes, anything that you can use that will manage to pull out your corners. So that's all mine, and when you're finished with them, tie them up like that. It's just nice and neat, and it saves a lot of hassle when you get back or go to another camp, untangling everything. It just takes 2 minutes to sort all that out. And I normally carry extra paracord, just in case for any other reason, whether you need something breaks or you need to tie something back or whatever, for whatever reason. And I normally carry some pegs as well. They're not brilliant pegs, just simple pegs that will do the job. And if you're in a woodland and you're putting up a hammock, obviously, and the pegs are just coming out because it's rubbish ground, you can just tie it to a tree, or you can actually just get an old branch, cut a branch down and stick the branch in the ground as well and anchor it that way. So there you go. This whole setup cost me £10. So it's definitely worth shopping around and just seeing what goes on and who's selling what. Some people might try that hammock and just not like it whatsoever. It's not for them and just want rid of it very quickly. So it was a bit of a golden nugget find, to be honest. They don't come around very often, and when they do, you need to snap it up very quickly. But that's just a basic hammock, and if you want to try it, it's well worth a shot. And I hope you enjoy it. So out of all this hammock camping, I hope you did get something from it. Whether it's for you, whether you want to try it for the first time, there you go. Just a couple of tips there. Hopefully I've given you something that you might pick up on. So, all good. Well, that's it for me, folks. Everything's packed away, squared away, fire's covered up. Just need to find my way out of here now. But on that note, I hope you've got something from this little wild camp here in the hammock. It was quite difficult to film one-handed, so apologies if you didn't get really a clear view of anything. I'll see what I can do for next time. It's actually been a not bad little spot. I'd love to get a clearing so I can get a view of Ben Moore at the back of me there. It's through the trees, mist coming down a bit. Thanks very much for watching, and plenty more adventures to come. Thanks very much for watching again, appreciate it. Big hats off to all the new subscribers. So if you've just subscribed in the last 3 or 4 months, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming on this journey, and let me know if you get something from it. It would be appreciated if I was doing something right and you were taking it and it was working. I just try and keep constantly thinking about stuff that I'd like to try and like to do. So there's plenty in my head and on paper for future camps. Thank you to my Patreons and everybody who likes and shares all this stuff. I'm on social media as well. I'll put all the links at the end and in the links below. So cheers for now. See you in the next adventure.